Mr. Mashaba, thank you so much for joining us. We didn't plan that all this VAT chaos would ensue when we invited you many weeks ago, but my goodness, you found yourself at the center of South African politics. Firstly, thank you so much for joining us tonight and being our first ever guest in an SMWX Live panel.
Thank you so much, Sizu, and the audience. It's interesting that you invited me a few weeks ago, and because if it was you, there are some people in life I'm scared of, so I just accepted. And, my diary was open, so I said to my office, accept. But then all hell broke loose in the country.
Yeah.
I lost track of what's happening around me until I think about an hour or two ago, I go through my diary. I see I've got the engagement. Then I had to immediately call Masha to say, Masha, I see I've got this engagement. Can you brief me? Because I'm not sure what I've accepted. So thank you for giving me the brief, and thank you for giving me this opportunity on this historic moment in our country.
Absolutely. We didn't tell you in the brief, but we're actually going to lock the doors until VAT is taken down. So, Mr. Mashaba, I guess, you've been right at the center of this question. And my first question to you is, do you believe VAT is actually going to be reduced on the 1st of May?
No, VAT is not going to be reduced. There's not going to be any VAT adjustment on the 1st of May. In fact, I'm sure a few hours ago, the Commissioner of SARS has already written to businesses to let them know about this, and those that cannot reverse, he's given them until the 15th. So it's already in the government gazette. There's not going to be VAT. And it's interesting that this deal, I clinched it in my offices 2 minutes away from here. I've got offices on Fredman Drive for the last 20 years or so, and on a Sunday when I had a meeting with the ANC, and that's when we gave them this proposal to save our country from collapse, because their coalition partners or the GNU partners wanted to collapse this country to not have the budget. And I think I personally took it personal to say, you know what, I might not agree or like the ANC for what they've done to this country. But when you now start using extortion to eradicate the ANC, to do things that are going to affect the whole country, at the time when they're going all over the world saying bad things are happening in South Africa, when I have no idea what they're talking about, I said, this particular one, fortunate enough, it is within my powers to stop it. And I said to the ANC, if you're willing, here's a proposal, let's work it out and ensure that we pass the fiscal framework. It was on a Sunday, and Tuesday was the meeting of the Standing Committee on Finance. Yeah, and everything else is history, and I know I can't say majority because I don't have official data, but I know some South Africans were skeptical. In fact, even some of my colleagues didn't really believe that I will deliver this, or we will deliver this, because I didn't deliver it on my own. It was a team effort with bringing other parties on board. I think I remember. Even some of the guys who voted with us we did not get the opportunity to brief them properly the implications of that report. And that report is a public document,
So can I stop you there just briefly and just ask you this, because you said it was a team effort, but some people are still skeptical that it's actually technically legally possible to do this. How do you see this happening so that this becomes a law? What is the path through Parliament to get this done in time?
Look, I think this will happen in line with national budget processes over the years. The only difference this year is because ANC does not have the majority. If ANC had the majority, it would have gone through smoothly without any hiccups. Unfortunately, this time, because of the loss of the majority and the extortionist partners wanted to blackmail them to reverse the gains of our country. It's terrible past. That's why we had this hiccup and there's this delay. So everything else will go through the divisions of the budget, through the various committees, through the National Assembly and so forth. That's the only difference. The minister has already put in the Gazette, it's already there. The National Treasury team putting together the budget. Then the next framework is going to be presented through to the chair of the Finance Committee will then debate it there, then it'll go to Parliament. The only difference that you'll get there is going to be the same budget with VAT out, but then replacing the revenue from VAT will be something else. What is that something else right now? I don't know exactly because I think it's something outside our scope. We submitted as Action SA, which something we shared with the ANC when we had a meeting with them to say, guys, there's no need for VAT. Here's the low-hanging fruit. We gave them 110 billion rands of alternatives in terms of revenue streams, savings from corruption, mismanagement, and so forth. It says there's just no need whatsoever to punish South Africans to bring this VAT issue into your budget process.
Do you see all of this happening in the next 2 working days after on Tuesdays and Wednesdays?
It'll happen within the next few months. Obviously, committees will have to see it. Parliament is on recess right now. Yeah, it'll happen within the next coming weeks and months because it goes through so many committees till it obviously goes. The final budget goes to the National Assembly. Right now, the minister has got the powers to change the VAT. The VAT Act of 1991 allows the minister to change it.
Your interpretation is that as long as he makes an announcement that there's a change, that is the same thing as when he tabled his budget in Parliament.
Absolutely. That's why even SARS has already communicated that officially it is in the government gazette. And it'll be interesting to see if there'll be any other political party that can object on the process wanting VAT back. So it'll be interesting.
Take us behind the scenes of this crisis in some ways in South African politics, where you've been at the center. What have some of the conversations with the ANC been like, given that firstly you elected not to go into the multi-party coalition, and now you in many ways are at least driving this budget process more than, shall we say, some parties who are supposed to be key partners in the coalition. How did all of this happen behind the scenes?
Well, after the national elections, which I was disappointed because I always aim high, but reality don't. But it happens. I know over 40 years in business, I tried so many ventures of products that dismally failed, and I was optimistic and put money behind them, but they fail. That's life. But one thing that I credit myself, and I was brought up like that, it's in my DNA. I'm not afraid of risk if I believe in something. Whether it's going to work or not, I think I'm not a victim or a prisoner of being afraid of risks when necessary. So after the elections, got 6 members of parliament, and actually it dawned on me to say, Herman, don't be crazy to think you failed. You have not. Your party is 4 years old. You are now represented in all 3 spheres of government. You've got massive representation in 6 municipalities. You are now in 3 provinces. you now have 6 members of parliament. I remember when I shared the news to my team, something I knew even before that, whatever number we get, I'm not going to parliament. I mean, it's not for me. I'll be a wrong person to be in parliament. I honestly believe so. So I said to the team, we went out on a start session to plan, and I said, guys, I'm not going to parliament. I tell you, the team nearly collapsed. They tried every trick in the book, including actually getting my wife, who has also insisted that I go to parliament because people voted for me. I convinced them. Luckily, they accepted. It was the 6 of them. I took top 6, and I said, "These are the guys. Let's give them the support." The only thing we demand of them is that they must go and box as 60, not as 6. We said, go and box as 60. It's 3 or 6 of you, but go and box as 60. And I'm not disappointed. Really very proud of that decision because 2 things, 3 in fact. If I'd gone to parliament, I would not have delivered Tshwane. I would not have removed Celia Bring from Tshwane because that removal needed someone to be tactical on how we're going to do it, because I knew there was going to be massive resistance, and there was. But I was determined we were going to remove this man. We've tried so hard to get him to come to his senses that this country belongs to all of us. People of Mamelodi, Atteridgeville, Harankua, are not in that environment because they wanted to be there. They are there because of many years of your making. So we really tried. And I reached a stage where I said, they are out. As soon as I made that announcement, all hell broke loose, including even my black journalist thought, this man is gone crazy, removing this greatest mayor in the world, the white mayor that the world has never seen. I was under attack, but we delivered Tshwane. And Tshwane was in a mess. And fortunate enough, as much as I'm not an accountant, but I've got a clear sense of numbers. I was saying, talking to colleagues earlier on before we came in. Friday like this, when I was in Form 4, Form 5, 1978, 79, most of you were not born yet. This time I'll be at the gambling place. I'm a Knoxman. I was an official Knoxman. You know what a Knoxman is? I don't think you'll have an idea.
Sounds like an old form of...
No, a Knoxman, what happens in a game of gambling, of dice, there has to be government. No, Knoxman it's a government. You set the rules. You set the rules as to who can play, what's the minimum bet, you can keep changing, and you resolve issues, because in a gambling space, there's every 5 minutes there's a squabble, there's an issue. So you need a strong government that believes in the rule of law.
Sounds familiar. Yeah.
So for some reason, older people preferred my school. We call it a school, because in my school there will always be law and order, and those who do not abide, I'll get them out, and I'll ban them from gambling. So that's me. So I come from that environment, and I think, and I'm so grateful that gambling helped me to go to school. Otherwise, I would not have been able to go to school. So we achieved few things. Tshwane, we delivered Tshwane. Tshwane was in a mess. What Dr. Moya has done and is doing in a coalition arrangement, it honestly is beyond imagination. I don't know if you guys follow what's happening in Tshwane. Obviously, the media is not interested. They are waiting for her to make a mistake. That's when it'll be the headlines.
Well, we're the media now, so don't worry.
Because honestly, the achievement of the team in Tshwane, honestly, it's a template.
And I did speak to her. I spoke to her on the channel.
Yeah, it's a template. Secondly, I don't know if you guys are aware, because obviously it might not be headlines to you. Are you aware, Action SA, since the beginning of this year, without going to a by-election, we've got 39 councillors in 5 municipalities. So we are now represented in 7 municipalities. We were, after 2021, only represented in 2 municipalities, Gauteng and KZN. Today, as I speak to you, we are represented in additional 5. Northwest alone, we've got 22 councillors without going to a by-election. People ask him, and how did you do it? Ask the IEC. They know we're in charge of those parties. Obviously, as far as IEC is concerned, tactically, they will still be the parties that represented. But when they campaign, even in council, they represent Action SA. Their members are now our members. That's why 2 weeks ago, I launched massive branches. Tomorrow, I'll be in Guyana. We're launching massive branches and so forth. So we delivered what we call the green umbrella. And that green umbrella is growing at a rate that is scary, but positive. That's the second thing, second achievement for being not in Parliament. And also, now this VAT matter, you can imagine if I was in Parliament, I would not have really had a time to focus on negotiations, because all these 3 issues, I said to my teams, I'll lead the discussions myself. Yes, from time to time I'll take some of my team members, but some of the meetings I'll actually prefer to go on my own, because some of the decisions I had to take, I didn't want to get my team to collapse, because I take some decisions that are uncommon,
So can I ask you on that then, with the 3 streams that you've spoken about? It seems as if in some ways, when you summarize all of that, maybe ironically, you have moved from having gravitated earlier around the DA to closer to the ANC in some ways, ousting the DA in Tshwane, but also now with this VAT question, we saw you side by side with the ANC in various briefings and together on this VAT thing. How long do you think the GNU can survive? And do you think we might have a GNU, by the way, which we always say on this channel?
There's no unity. Yeah, there was never from the beginning. There was never any unity
true.
From the beginning.
The only thing about the GNU is it's not a government, it's not national, and it's not united. But apart from that, but do you think we could have a new iteration of that coalition with you playing an important role there?
Well, it's not our space. We've taken a decision as Action SA to be a constructive opposition. We're on record on that. Even when we started the negotiations with ANC on this particular matter, we made it very clear that for us it's about the removal of VAT. Secondly, to make sure that South Africa's got a budget, because we don't want people to get into the next plane to go and tell the world that bad things are happening in South Africa. I mean, it was a very serious arrest, because the ANC partners were really blackmailing them, holding them to ransom. But unfortunately, they overplayed their hand. They never thought, because of my stance, that I'll put my country first ahead of the ANC. So I'm not closer to the ANC. Everything we're doing as Action SA, we're doing it for the people of this country. We'll defend this country. For that reason, I'm in politics. I'm not in politics for Action SA, not in politics for any other party. I mean, in politics, I left my business. I don't need to work. But I think I honestly and truly believe that I owe it to this country to stand up This job, it's an expensive job for me. I have to pay to belong to lead this party. I have to rely on my wife every month to give me a salary to be able to. When I'm with friends, I can buy my own bottle of wine. So.
What do you think
the
about
whole thing? It's what you answering your question. It depends on the ANC. If DA for some reason they decide to drop the ANC, and ANC is prepared to enter into a new coalition arrangement, legally binding coalition arrangement, we're happy with other parties to work with the ANC to save our country. But if they are happy with their blue partners. We will remain. We, as Action SA, we're happy to remain in the opposition benches.
You were in a lot of these important rooms. I mean, do you think the ANC and the DA are in a sustainable partnership at this moment?
I know it's impossible. I mean, what they're trying to do, honestly, it's weird. Even up to today, just before I left home, sometimes I get naughty, DA right now is actually running a parallel government. Their ministers, they don't represent the grand coalition, whatever. Every time the minister delivers something, it's a DA project. It's got nothing to do with other parties. And I'm saying to myself, what on earth is going on? And the more ANC engages them to come to their senses, the worse they get. Even today, going to DA's social media accounts, Home Affairs, drones, it's a DA project. Building of schools is the DA's. It's got nothing. This ANC have messed up. The DA is sorting out the ANC mess. It's not. It's got absolutely nothing to do with the ANC. So I'm not sure how this relationship is going to work. It's a miracle, but unfortunately, it's ANC, honestly, they require decisive leadership, and it's something that I think my experience dealing with them, it's, I don't know, they are handicapped in some way. Have they always been like this? I don't know, because, I grew up in difficult times believing that ANC was our savior. I know personally, as a black businessman, I spent a fortune in 1994 to get black voters for the ANC. I really spent a fortune, because I needed the ANC to win. I'm disappointed with them in the manner in which they've managed our country the last 30 years. However, we should not really give up. I'm not prepared to allow traitors to come and destroy this country because they feel they have a superior logic than us. I take that to personal. Honestly, I really take it personal. Don't really then take ANC failures and ascribe them to the entire black race. I take it personal. ANC is an ANC mistakes, and we lived 34 years of my life under a brutal savage system. And we were part of the people who said, let's move forward. When Mandela said, let's move forward, we accepted that in total good faith. But I see that ugly hate is beginning to rise. And I can tell you, Action SA is going to stop it. We are not going to allow anyone to accuse the black race for the mistakes of the ANC.
We thank you for coming. Give it up for Herman Mashaba, everyone. Thank you so much. So, can we get an ayeye? Can we get a spread the fire?